Good evening, good peoples. It is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. I thought I would do something relative to MSTY and just do a deep dive on what's happening with MSTY. What do all the numbers tell us? What's yield max going to do, right? There's a problem. I've been saying that for a while. Now, listen, I'll be the first to tell you this thing could turn around instantly. Bitcoin could take off, and this time MSTR goes with it. So the net is so goes MSTR, so goes MSTY. But I think it's important to look at how yield max will react and what all the numbers tell us. Again, you guys know I love data. I show it unbiased, right? If this makes MSTY look terrific, so be it. If it makes MSTY look bad, so be it. If it's indifferent. So let's jump in. So what I did, and the fanboys aren't going to do this for you, I guarantee you that. Um, they're just going to say, oh, Ulti's great, MSTY's great. No, this one's a little bit better. And they're going to get 20 times my views because they're singing to the middle class who's just chasing a dream, I think. Okay. I think Bitcoin certainly could go much, much higher. But in the first place, playing an income fund isn't necessarily the way to make riches in Bitcoin. If you need income, it's okay. But when people say, oh man, I'm getting all that money, I'm using all that money, blah, blah, blah. You're not being that efficient with your money. And I'm going to prove it right here. Okay. But let's talk about the assets under management, why I think yield max will declare $1 when it didn't earn $1, really, and doesn't deserve $1, right? I've been on the other end where the fund earned it and deserved it and they didn't pay it, but we're talking MSTY. So let's jump into the number. I'll go backwards on how I built this. So back on July 1, I took the price ever since July 1 and even went back and showed the shares outstanding on 6/2. I probably should show the price on that also. Let me see. I'll do that for you guys, a 6/1 price, so you can see the NAV erosion, but I didn't use it in my stats. Yeah, 6/2, MSTY was trading at 21.84. Okay. Not that that is key on anything. So what I wanted to do is track the sentiment. And remember, the public at large is almost always wrong, right? They tend to buy at the tops and sell at the bottoms. I've done it. I mean, smart people still do it because it's fear and greed and it's human emotion. That's why people that's this technical analysis and charts, it's fooey. The lines go up, lines go down. You're not telling me anything. Well, you're absolutely right. Price goes up, price goes down. But when it forms common psychological patterns, right, like an inverse head and shoulders, there's all kinds of technical analysis that they give you probabilities. They can't predict the future, right? Just like now, I can't tell you when MSTR is going to just take off. Now, it's going to coincide with Bitcoin moving up, no question about that. But it hasn't done it when Bitcoin's moving up. The Bitcoin funds are doing better, which is what I told you guys 45 days ago. Now, don't abandon it if you love it, because maybe you were on a fire website or you were listening to the fanboys and, retire on this and retire on that. And here's what MSTY did every day. And rah, rah, rah. This is a deep dive on the data. All right. So 35% of the assets under management, MSTY was, right? Its market cap within this, okay, was 4.8 billion. By far the largest fund assets under management, represent over a third of all the assets under management. Now, I want to tell you another fact if you don't. So you see Jay out there, you see some of the other executives from time to time, you see the Scott, the MSTY fund manager. Now, when you start parading him out in the fanboy world, you know what that means? You sense it there needs promotion. They hired another PR guy, a guy in the industry marketing. Is going to go on CNBC and talk up Yilmax. He'll do it with MSTY, but he'll talk up Yilmax. Why? Because they know some people are unhappy. Do I think it's a lot of people at this point? Absolutely not. People that follow me tell me, you know, yield minimum, this and that, and they joke about it. Maybe they feel like they can with me. I'm just open. If I tell you what's good and I tell you what's bad. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not being invited for steak dinners, and based on how I've been the last few months, never will be, but I'm okay with that. It's not what I want to do in the first place with any of the fund companies, right? I'm just here to tell you how one guy retired, made a lot of money in the markets, and how these things work, how the markets work. I can't tell you where it's going to be tomorrow or the next day, but I can tell you what I've seen. And when you have 45 years in the market, 40 years with options, you do learn a thing or two, okay? And some things just repeat themselves, but not exactly. They say history rhymes. So if you're not a student of history, this isn't the first bubble and it won't be the last bubble, okay? So 35% assets under management, market cap, okay? So this was the price. I forget monthly shares gain or loss. Oh, I know what I did. I took it from a period before and said, yeah, it's up. Or sorry, this is this month. Oh, this is shares. Yeah, guys. So when you look at this over this previous period of time, right? So you go back to 6.2. This I was focusing on shares at this time. So shares tell you, are people gravitating to MSTY or are they selling it off? And then I give you a daily change, right? I always have to have the next day to get that day. So since I have 7.1, I'm 7.2. It was bought up, right? Look at that. 2083, it closed higher. 5.6% of shares were added. Okay. Following day 123. So you want to look for red and green trend. Okay. And then I also want to show you when you have declaration and ex-dividend, right? So that can drive the price down. That's exactly what happened here. So when it declared it was 22.1, people said, oh, $1.20, that's great. Stock's only $22. I want it, right? So the next day with ex-dividend, it closed down. It has to be a minimum. Well, it has to be taken out at pre-market trading on ex-dividend date, right? After midnight, they take it out. But it's possible for it to go up beyond that day. So when somebody said, I always buy an ex-dividend because ex-dividend's always the cheapest day, not at all, right? It has a propensity to do that, especially with big payouts. It's hard to recover that in a day, but could it happen? So you might want to say mostly, not always, right? It's like saying all Americans are mean or all Americans are this. Come on, 300 million people. You don't think there's diversity there? You bet. All right. So you see it moving along here. So look at this period of time. Interesting. It's moving up 249, 252, 258, 258. A little bit of slide. Nothing really pronounced there. Minuscule, right? Not even a 1%. All right, so it trends along. They had a nice distribution for that. That's probably 80, 90%. Okay. So as we move down to this 118 that got declared on 730, people pile in, right? They declare a good one. They'd gone up the day before, 3.87, up 3.29. Even with ex-dividend, here's all you guys that say, hey, I want it, but I want it cheap, right? I want it at 19.5. So you had your biggest percentage pile in then. Makes sense, right? Bargain hunters, okay? Well, so far that bargain hunting hasn't worked out. Again, you know, 2, 3, 4 months don't make an absolute trend, but clearly this isn't the MSTY of the old right now. Will it become worse? Could. Will it become better? I would give it more probability that it gets better than it gets worse. But I don't know that it's going to recover back to it. I don't own it. I don't own any fund in MSTR. Well, that's not true. I do own some MST because I wanted to watch Defiance and see if in a really bull trend it went. Well, it didn't, right? Its problem was it moved up in crypto, BTC moving, but the NAV erosion when it's flat to down with that 200% is brutal. So not a good fund unless we're just soaring, right? The MST fund from Defiance. So like it's 100 shares. It doesn't even show up on my radar. It's minuscule on my portfolio. Just like even my Ulti is, I only have about 1,400 shares of Ulti. It's minuscule in terms of my investment side. But if I can get 84% yield and have a minimum NAV, now lately the NAV started again in Ulti. Okay, so we got to 118. All right, so the shares are gaining. They got up to 5.3. That's more of a high water mark. Okay, that represents 297. Have they been a little higher? 300, 301, 302. But now we're starting. Look at this series of red. Now we're starting to decline. And look at this price. It started at the 2039, got an ex-dividend date, but look at this. This is an ex-dividend. 17, 18, right? Can I say 16? Yeah. We've had 3, 6, 9, about 15 straight days of people selling more than they're buying, right? So the shares are shrinking. We are now down to a 28.04 representation, which is fine in terms of that, but it's still the biggest, right? I haven't looked at Ulti, but Ulti's probably 2.8 billion, and this is still 5 billion market cap, shares times price. I don't know Ulti's number, but I know it was moving up, and I believe it's in second place, right? Number one, it's weekly. You get it every week. You get that adrenaline, um, and but now we're starting to see a decline. So we went up 9.3. It reached, according to my numbers on the asset under management, it got up to 42.5%. Okay. Serena. Okay. Sorry, guys. Something was going on here. We got a delivery. Okay. So let me get my train of thought back. So only one little tiny blip positive. So why I'm saying to you, the net result is I think they're going to pay $1. Doesn't matter what I think. They either are or they're not, right? If they pay 80 cents, I think there's further erosion. So why am I doing this? I forecasted or predicted, I estimated $1 because that's a psychological situation. Do they want their goat, their leader, their defined, ETF clearly on the monthlies to slide any further? Probably not. Again, what did I say? Why is assets under management important? Because those fees are what generates the profits to pay Jay, the executives of Title, right? The whole yield max structure, the upper management team, advisors, and so forth. That's where all the money comes from. It's not a lot to pay 1% for MSTY. But when you start having the amount of people and shares in that fund, that generates huge money, right? So as long as you can grow your overall assets under management, they can live with it. But if your reputation is built, are they afraid that other funds will get hit? Sure. So I think they defend it, and that will tell us a lot if they attempt to defend it, right? They've been realizing that the weekly pair, Ulti is the king, right? So what have all the fanboys, what do people do in general? MSTY, Ulti, MSTY, Ulti. You go out there, and that's where the audience is what's telling you. The retail average person, not the sophisticated investor, okay, necessarily. I'm not saying there's not a sophisticated investor that doesn't watch it. People watch a lot of things. All right. So what do you got? What's the net, Bruce? Well, let's look down here. So if you bought here and you wanted to get it cheaply, okay, and you bought, well, that's not true. You'd buy right here. But let's say it declared and you bought, because I'm including these two dividends and the next dividend, and I'm using this price. So I said, okay, it's 22.1 on 7.2. Okay, you bought it. Now you get the $1.24. If you buy it down here cheaper, you don't, right? So that's about a wash, right? What you bought it for minus the dividend. But I'm saying in my calculation, you bought here, you got that dividend. You collected this dividend. We are now here, right? We only have an 822 price. Soon we're going to have an 825 close, right? And then we're going to declare and go through all that. So I said, I'm taking $1 and adding it in. So I took all three distributions, okay, since 7.2, and I said that's $3.42. Assume $1 on 827. Add 5 cents, add 8 cents, add 3 cents. They're not going to probably $1.10. I don't believe it, but let's say it's $1.10. Then this is 352. Well, what's it decline during that period of time, right? Back to what am I known for? Total return. All right. Percent means it tells you something, but unless you see it here, right? Because I didn't say what percent 3.42 was of the price, but obviously it's less than 1575 because it's 455. That's how many dollars if you bought on 7.2 and to collect that dividend, okay? Otherwise, you've only got much less money over here. And then this drops. Your loss isn't as big. It's only 3 something, but this is 2 something. So either way, guys, I didn't spin it one way or the other. So you're now 3 months going in to MSTY and you're losing money. You're not gaining any money. And it's not like crypto's crashed during that time. It's certainly not as high as it has been, but I'll bet it's higher than where it was on 7.2. I should have gotten that stat, speaking of data, but I didn't, right? Now as I'm talking, I'm thinking that. But go do it yourself. Go see what crypto was on 7.2 if you want. But I know the BTC oriented fund. So that's what I got for you guys. It's not, as I said in the opening, and not make everybody wait. The magic solution to MSTY being a better fund, right? Make MSTY great again, make MSTR great again. They go hand in hand. But if MSTR is great, it's not the only way to play it, right? But from an income, there's no question that MSTY was 8.43 months that it paid back. Now, how about you guys that are going to go in here? And I'm going to dispel this. People that love Max become impartial, right? They'll say, well, Bruce, you don't understand. I mean, it's the best fund ever. I mean, if you bought it on the opening day, you've got all that money back, right? House money plus. So you're just writing. You don't care what the dividends. Oh, really? So now that you have that, you're okay if it goes down to $2, right? And you sell it and you say, well, I'm still ahead because I've collected $6 more than what I paid for it, right? I'm, 100%. Now I'm adding more. Okay. But isn't it always at any point in time, where do you have your money? Or do you have your money where it's treated best? That's what I say to you guys all the time. You don't want to just think about, it's okay, I'm going to hang on. Don't get me wrong. You can hang on. 3 months doesn't make a year trend, right? But we only really have about 1.8 months of a fabulous trend before these 3 months now. So be careful out there, guys. This is informative. Let's see. It's showing me that there's some movement down. People are starting to wake up. I mean, if they see my data, they are. But if they're over there on the fanboys, they're not. So you got to decide what you want to do and where you want, where you want to put your money. So this is just meant to educate you. Okay. Maybe it hits some people with, oh, so my point is back on that thing about, yeah, but I got it. What percentage? I could go back and pull up. So everybody wants to talk about the beginning, the $20 price. I bought some within 2 days of it launching, right? And I remember thinking 90 days in, my gosh, I paid close to 21. I paid, let's call it 21. I paid $21 for a stock. It's 40 now, and I'm getting about 110 or 115% annualized yield. I'm like, is there anything better than this? But reality comes in. Can it maintain that forever? Absolutely not. So you 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds that think you're going to retire in 10 years on some of these things, good luck, right? So it is what it is, people. Things, even the S&P can have a 10-year stretch. Like I just said to you guys, we're in a commodity super cycle. I guarantee you that most commodities will outperform the S&P 500 over the next 5, 6 years. It's been decade. It was true in the whole decade of the 2000s. Okay, from 2001 to 2011. If you were in different assets, you did a 2, 3x of what you did in the S&P 500. I'm not saying don't be in it, but when somebody just tells you, "Oh, I got 10 years left and I'm putting all my money in the S&P 500," is that the best return? It seems safe. You're across 500 companies. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. So, 3 months now, Misty's losing you money, not making you money. Is this going to come down or go up? Well, the dollar will, I guarantee you this, if they pay 80 cents, how many of you said on my channel, I suspect another small percentage of people would then decline. So now they have to wait a month to remedy that. High payouts, believe it or not, draw people in. It's easy. It's a sentiment kind of thing. People are loyal, but they're only loyal for a certain length of time. Same thing as Ulti. If Ulti switches, I'm out of Ulti, right? I'm already, my radar is raised, right? Not be the markets were trending down. Okay. Well, then the market soared on Friday. Didn't do all that well. And I got people telling me, oh, yeah, but it earned 20 cents this time. It's the best ever. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, you talk about labor to be involved with tracking Ulti every single day and doing a deep dive forensic accounting. I have no interest in it. The time I spent there, I can extract a lot more money than I'd ever get in views on my YouTube channel. So I have no interest in doing that. You notice I'm not doing really anything in reporting like I used. It's not worth it, right? I can make a lot more money in the markets than I can pouring through those things, even when I automated some of it. Just not my thing anymore. I love numbers, right? If I could push a button and get it all out, I would, but it's not quite that simple yet. All right. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope for the sake of you guys that are in it, you get paid a dollar. My guess is 75, 80% probability that's what they're going to do. I know I already did my estimate. I had a dollar. I just thought this was worthwhile. Let's see if my title gets me a high number of views, since it's like, hey, what's the status of Misty? Where is it going from here? you know, do some catchy, you know, title, clickbait, man. Let's go, TWC. Let's get some clickbait. All right, guys, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Have a great week. We'll learn a lot this week. We've also got NVIDIA earnings after the market on 8/27. Before the market, you're going to find out what Misty pays. All right, guys, bye for now.